it back out of the old pooper.
I mean, really, you could probably put it in a bag and then just like throughout the course of the evening, just lift it back up and let gravity do the job.
Gross. Okay, let's move on off of coffee enemas.
Let's start talking about crack slams.
Yeah, so that was hilarious.
So Fry's like, sort of weirded out by this multi-boyfriend situation, but Zoidberg's explanation of it's a delicious cake. Isn't it better to have one slice than none at all? Even if the four other guys are thrusting their swirling naked bodies against the cake? Which I think in Zoidberg's, he'd be like, whatever. He eats garbage most of the time. He lives in a dumpster and eats literal garbage.
Okay.
So cake that has been thrust upon by naked bodies would still be a cake for him. But the that whole thing with the crack slam.
Well, have we gotten to the... Okay, we haven't gotten to the crack slam yet. I just want to say that when Fry goes to Colleen's and moves in, the first thing he sees when he walks into the apartment is her other 4 boyfriends, and they're eating a cake. And they say, "Hi, Fry, you want some cake?" And then it cuts to the crack slam.
Oh, just hang up in the rudest manner possible. Like...
This is definitely one of my favorite Futurama jokes is the crack slam. Like just the fact that he puts the phone receiver in his ass, like in between his butt cheeks, and then he just
and he does it with precision.
Yes.
Despite his size, Hermes is very athletic. I mean, he's a limbo champion. He's an Olympic limbo player. Limbist. Sure.
Competitor? Could have just said limbo competitor.
But that doesn't sound like you're a champion or anything. It just sounds like you're
a champion competitor. Limbo competitor.
It still sounds very awkward, Tom. Anyway.
Champion limbo anything sounds awkward.
I mean, it's like going... Referencing again Youngstown frat houses, I'm sure there's a lot of picking stuff up with butts that goes on there, at least to get in and be a member of the fraternity. But like, I don't know that I could pick up a phone receiver. Like that seems like a pretty wonderful feat to be able to accomplish.
Well, especially with the way he was able to pick it up, kind of spin it, and then bring it back down.
I want to teach myself how to do that. I'd have to find a landline phone first.
Well, also, it's going to be really hard. Yeah, you got to have a landline phone. It's not something you can do with a smartphone because you can't
slam.
Yeah,
okay,
slam
the whole point of the
but
crack
to be
slam.
fair, if you could hang up, you can butt dial people, but if you could with precision hang up a phone with your ass, that's almost a better trick.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Like
I
if
agree.
you can hit the small red button on an iPhone just by like clenching or something.
An ass just has too much surface area to be that precise.
Yeah,
I know.
You'd have to maybe with a flip phone.
I don't know. I mean, I bet somebody with more muscle tone than I have could probably like find an angle that they could use on a consistent basis. It would be a really good trick. But Fry ends up breaking up with Colleen anyway because I mean, now to be fair, if she has this arrangement, everybody's cool with it, whatever. But the fact that like literally as soon as Fry moves in, she's like, "I'm going out with another guy. Bye, guys." It seems like he's been hoodwinked a little bit,
and not even that she's just going out with one of the guys that she's got a date with a new person.
Yeah.
That's not even
like
part of the group.
Number 6.
Yeah.
She's collecting boyfriends. Like once she gets one moved in by him, she
But they have they do a callback to Bender shitting bricks again as they're approaching
the anomaly.
Which has not been brought up for
70 episodes.
Yeah. Well, but just they're like the whole episode starts off with there's this big problem, but life goes on and they do all these different things.
Yeah.
And then it hasn't been a problem for a bit.
Oh my God. It's just
they're just going on with their life. They're going to Kip's wedding. They're going to play death ball. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, the anomaly. We got to figure that thing out."
Well,
too.
the death ball was to see who was going to the anomaly.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
But did you realize robots were only $20? That was news to me.
They're $30 with the 10 and mail and rebate.
But like, that's remarkably cheap.
Well, that's why also And later that they're throwing those little robots into the anomaly thing. And I'm thinking those are like, you know, like 10 cents a dozen or something like that.
Maybe.
You could just order a whole bunch of those.
It's
I mean, how much was Robot 1X like when he bought it? I think the price tag was on there.
It's 125 slices of pizza. But this is the first reference Bender makes to the League of Robots, right?
Yeah, there's
Because
never
that's
been in here.
another thing from that fucking game that I have the ability to unlock Zap Brannigan now.
Oh, boy.
But it's a whole thing.
I'm still. I have not played since we recorded our last.
There's a
bonus
Futurama
episode.
app game, and you just kind of tap on things and then wait and tap and buy and tap.
And being the least,
And he's the only one
Yeah,
out of all three of us that are still playing.
I started out really strong. I leveled up really fast, and then I was like, well, this
she has
game
better
sucks.
things to do with her life.
I find it very boring.
Well, I played The Simpsons tapped out for like a year. This one did not have that longevity. It just got too like cash grabby really fast.
It is no frozen Candy Crush, I'll tell you that. So Bender has to go and explore the anomaly. He touches it, blows up, and that would be the end of this first episode in here, right? Which results in a blinding light and searing ass pain.
Because he tells it to bite his shiny metal ass.
Well, because he touches it with his ass. Because he's being an asshole about it. Like
Very arrogant, yeah.
Yeah, he's being bendery.
Mm-hmm.
But Calculon and Bender have met, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but
I mean,
Calculon doesn't remember anybody.
Okay, just because he's vain and self-involved. That's fair enough. Calculon is the star of All My Circuits, which is completely batshit bonkers.
It's a soap opera, and he's like the main star of it, and he has a very big head about who he is, and thinks he's this great thing, but he's also just another arrogant, pretty terrible actor. But that was his programming.
Have you ever watched any soap operas like with some regularity?
Yeah, I mean, my grandma, I would watch with her and stuff.
Which ones?
I think General Hospital she watched.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got pulled into a Days of Our Lives jag for a few years with my ex-wife, and that was
I've
just,
watched that several times.
it's
Passions.
fucking bonkers.
I
Just
never got into any soap opera really.
Me either.
the shamelessness that whoever writes that stuff just does not give a fuck, and it's almost insulting, except for the people that are fans of the show will readily accept it.
Oh, it's because it's 5 days a week, right?
Yeah.
And they just
All the
crank those
time.
things out. Yeah, and there's no reruns. It just keeps on going,
And
and
it's
so you got to just keep crapping stuff out.
oh, and they do.
Yeah,
They just stretch out a single plot line for so long.
I've heard that's like the lowest level of actor, but like the most amount of work.
yeah.
Yeah, well, because you gotta be there 5 days a week. It's basically shot live. You don't have any time to learn your lines, and if you fuck up, you'll be gone, and then it'll be like, starting today, the part of such and such is now played by such and such. And it's like
That's
old
that.
switcheroo, and that's the end of it. But the thing where Calculon comes to visit him and does some kind of acting thing, and he goes, ordinarily to see acting like that, you'd have to sit through a tampon commercial. I mean, it's the sort of thing where, like, even Bender being in a hospital doesn't make sense because he can't get sick. He's a robot. That's the sort of shit where it's like, okay, can't they just fix him and his ass pain? In fact, how is he even feeling ass pain? Because again, he's a robot. I don't know.
Maybe he has a pain sensor.
Yeah.
Maybe he does.
He's got
but
a
I
black
thought
box.
he's got a brick hole down there.
Can you butt chug vodka through a brick hole?
Probably not.
I bet you could. I'm surprised we haven't seen Bender do that.
Depends how porous the brick is, I guess.
Well, for Bender, booze is fuel, so he might need to drink it to get it into
To
his.
have it processed
Yeah.
correctly.
Oh, now you're gonna apply logic and common sense to a fucking robot with a magical chest cavity. Okay.
Oh, sure.
I like how readily though he decides to become a stalker, because that's I mean, it seems like a really good hobby for him.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things like bucket list thing for Bender to just be like, yeah, this is what I do now.
Yeah. I mean, you're the most in the public eye of any of us, Bill. Have you had to deal with that?
Not like not full on stalker, but definitely some people that show up and I'll be like, okay. But not to a point where it's like
Dangerous
or anything like that.
I feel like those are the exact sounds you make before you walk in this door here.
Deep breaths.
That's more how I sound when I leave.
Yeah.
Why do I keep doing this?
I'm a glutton for punishment. The part where he pulls off his ass to get signed is fantastic. Can you sign my ass?
And those are the reasons I love Bender so much, because he'll hit you with something like that, and it's just kind of innocent in a way.
Yeah,
and
oh, for
adorable.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, although one of my favorites shows up in a tiny little cameo where it's Fatbot being like, "Ooh, he's in there!" Like I love Fatbot so much, and I don't know why. I think it's just that he like speaking about like innocent. He really seems like maybe the most innocent of all the robots we've seen, because he just wants a sandwich.
So excitable.
Yeah, and it's genuine. He's just very
a little naive.
Yeah. He doesn't want trouble. He doesn't want to make any sort of problems. But then they start going back to the smelloscope, which is still gross. It's just generally gross. And when he
There's
makes
an episode where they use a smelloscope, and they smell a garbage ball that they shot into space, and then it's headed back to Earth, and it's going to destroy the planet. Yeah, so that's one of his best inventions.
But he invented it and forgot that he invented it and invented it again.
Yeah.
I saw that when they were jailed, right? Is that what
They were
brought?
doing
They made a mini one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite understand what that was.
basically everything in the universe smells differently, and they just look around for things by smelling it.
Okay.
The part where he makes Leela smell it, they're in the calamatorium, and he's like, "Leela smells it. Can I wipe it off?" He's like, "No, there's no time." Like, that's another reason. It's just so gross. Like, I don't know. But the thing is, because it smells like angel dust. Which, I mean, I'm glad somebody's having a good time. And then the reconciliation between the professor and Wormstrom is it's really kind of touching, because they hate each other.
Mhm.
Like, they've been in fist fights before. They tried to kill each other with their killbots. And for them to be like, we need to cooperate for the greater good. It's a sea change. And I'm sure later, is Wormstrom in later episodes?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they hate each other again? Or is
Yep.
this like a peace treaty that goes
No,
on?
no, no.
No.
No, it goes right back to
Yeah.
normal. Yeah.
When they call him up and he's wearing like the purple panties, that's very distressing. He's like, he's in the lab coat with no pants on, and it's...
All those scientists, they have no shame.
I mean, then why does he even have the panties on in the first place?
He likes the way they
Ma-
feel
yeah,
and look.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'd be constricting, but that's just me.
It's not about comfort, it's about feel.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
Okay.
he likes constricting.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a good squeeze all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't live like that.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, but you're also not a scientist.
Well,
Not at that level.
I wish they did more experiments on koalas. And the thud when they throw it through the anomaly box and it goes out the window and lands is one of the best sound effects they've had on this show.
What did the box had, like scientific grade animals or something like that?
There's like a zebra in there and just all kinds of random shit. But like then those little tiny robots, it's just like I want a bunch of those. You could make them do little chores for you and things. They could come in, like they could comb your hair for you. Or
They're
cut your hair.
scientific grade. I mean, they're
The
probably
robots, the
just
tiny
used-
robots.
No, those are probably toys. I think those are just toys.
You think they seem
Mhm.
sentient? They were certainly feeling.
They
pain
might have
when
been
they got
sentient,
zapped.
but
yeah, but they're still.
they're just toys.
It's just
They probably had pain sensors in them also.
when they were whipping them at the thing, just going playtime. It's fun time. Just, like that goes back to that whole thing about like burning ants. Like as a kid, I I don't know if I necessarily burned ants with a magnifying glass. I definitely burned like leaves and would try and start fires with that. I mean, that was like science being
Come
fun
on,
and
you
destructive.
burned ants. We all burned ants.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think
if
I
I've ever
would burned
found-
ants just because I didn't want to
Smell it?
I just didn't want to get around ants. Like I didn't care. Like I would stomp on ants, but I didn't have the patience to burn
Put them in
with
a mini M&M's
I-
container?
Yeah, I never-
put like a magnifying glass on it and then wait. Like that seemed.
Yeah, I
could
never
take a
like
bit.
hurt an animal on purpose. I can't ever remember
I mean,
wanting
I'd throw
to kill
gasoline
an ant
onto
with
an anthill and then start that on
No,
fire.
see, I never did anything like that, but I like collect it. Like I would put like lightning bugs or fireflies, depending on where you are regionally, in a jar, and ants and M&M mini containers.
I call them fireflies until that Owl City song, and now they're lightning bugs.
I always called them lightning bugs, but I don't know
I heard I've grown up with both.
both.
I mean, I'm not ostensibly cruel to animals except for the shitty cats that live in my house, and I'm not even cruel to them. I just don't like them. Like I'll be verbally abusive to them, but I don't like hit them or anything.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because they're dumb. They're dumb, and I'll say that to they're my wife's cats. They're awful. But like, if it's vermin, then all bets are off. If it's an infestation of some kind of stingy animal or like a disease-bearing rodent or something, like I'll go pretty predator on their ass. I've had.
I like how this episode seems like just a way for everyone to open up about how they're mean to animals. To
Yeah. Well, so
Pete's like, hey, anybody else just kill animals? Like when you're like 15,
I
trying
used
to
to
figure
live-
out what you want to do with the rest of your life.
I used to live in an apartment that had a very bad mice infestation. It was like an upstairs thing above. It was on High Street in Columbus, above
Oh.
restaurants. So that was
Hey,
great.
surprise!
And all of these, it was an old building, so it was like plaster walls with lath, and there was just space in between them. And the mice would crawl around in everybody's walls, but underneath my sink, the classy landlord and handy people, when they had to fix the plumbing under the sink, just smashed in the wall and then never fixed it because there's a cabinet there. You can't see it, whatever.
Right.
So
why
that was
would
the
you?
easiest point of ingress and egress for these mice. So I'd put traps under there. In the course of a month, I killed 30 mice under my
Jesus.
sink. It was like every day, just bam, and I'd hear it and go out and dump them into the dumpster behind the apartment from the second floor. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
It's like
yeah. I mean, but it wasn't like I enjoyed it. It was just like, look, you're carrying hantavirus or something probably.
Right.
So you
Yeah, when I was
gotta
in the
go.
Philippines, we had to deal with a lot of mice and stuff like that. So, you become pretty desensitized to it.
Yeah, they're just. I mean,
Because
you live with rats on purpose, though,
Yeah,
don't you?
I have 2 rats that live in my house.
What are their names?
Charlie and Tig.
That's troubling, but
They're cool.
okay.
rats are cool. Rats are a lot better than mice.
Uh,
Rats are actually smart.
They
Like,
try to grab my cats through the bars of the.
you can
the
like train
cage.
rats to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can
They're
train
actually
dolphins to
pretty
do shit too, but
I train
don't
them
want to
to
live in a house
look
with
for
a dolphin.
landmines in my house.
You don't? I do. I'd live with a dolphin in a second.
You'd have to live in the water, Michelle.
No, you just have a dolphin tank in your house and you can jump in and swim with it whenever you want.
Wouldn't it? I imagine that would get very smelly.
Maybe.
I'm just,
If you change the water,
Yeah,
you'd probably
well,
You
not.
could probably train the dolphin to clean his own tank.
you've seen what's happened to the fish in here.
How many? Oh, yeah,
They're
it's
not
gone.
there
the tank
anymore.
is completely
Well,
gone.
what you can do is just go flipper style, live by the ocean, and then the dolphin can live in the ocean and help you solve mysteries.
Like a Free Willy situation.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a TV show. That was-
Okay, all right. Why was there a Stegosaurus on the White House lawn?
I don't know.
I would just think that's what Richard Nixon would want. hanging
Really?
out in the- yeah, why not?
All right. I didn't know if that was a.
Or as a gift from another planet or country or
Yeah.
something.
Well, I like just like how Wernstrom is talking to Nixon and he says it's the greatest scientific opportunity since you yourself sent men to the moon in 1969. And he says, I always regretted that. Nothing up there but dry rocks and those revolting onion men. And then that's it. Like, that's all they say about the revolting onion men. But you think it's 1,000 years has gone by, so you think that
Yeah, somebody would know.
somebody
they're
would
there.
know about the onion men or
Unless they killed them all as soon as they found them.
That seems like something Nixon would do.
I mean, we have a secret base up there. Everybody knows that. It's on the
Yeah.
dark side.
We're not supposed to talk about it.
Well, look, they're hearing everything we say anyway, and no one listens to this show anymore, so it's fine. I
Oh,
mean,
good. So I can leave.
Yeah, you can just go. I'll just pretend to be Bill.
That is a very good Bill Squire impression.
So by making it a military matter, Zapp is now in charge of the whole mission. Like the fact that he makes Kif stand in a hole so he can look taller is exactly the sort of thing our shitty president would likely do now.
Right.
like and that's the whole thing. It's like this was all like hyperbole and exaggeration 10 years ago. It's like, oh no, we live this.
Yeah, now it's reality. They were warning us.
Yeah, I think they had a time machine, honestly.
Well, I think they saw what was happening with reality TV and the cable news and the 24-hour news cycle.
Ugh.
And they were just really smart about how people were devolving and clinging to these big personalities and just going for quantity over quality and stuff like that.
Well, we're going to kill him so we don't have to learn his language or a different way of looking at things, which has become the American way.
Jesus Christ.
And then the fact, like, at no point before this has Colleen been introduced as a police officer. Like, you figure Fry would have known that beforehand. And it's just...
Yeah, Fry seems like he stays out of people's business.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
This is so obvious, but it was still just so well done when Amy sang goodbye to Kif. This is my little teeny greeny weenie.
It's only a fungal infection.
Yeah, like, of course. Where do you think he picked that up? and probably not from any kind of sexy time shenanigans. Like, he probably got it from rubbing some weird stuff on his junk. Because, that's more in keeping with his style.
Yeah, he's gross.
They're all kind of gross.
Yeah, they're all very pretty gross.
At the same time, though, he doesn't. I mean, you'd think that with the amount of air, like everything would stay pretty dry and cool and clean, right? I mean, it's not like it's getting cooped up and
because of
his
way
outfit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he's still a big guy, and I don't know.
Just something that Zapp would have.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. The Fry stows away in hatch 35. Stowaway hatch 35. So clearly the ship is built to maintain that kind of stuff. But how many suicide notes has Bender written so far? Because when he writes that to...
He's got check marks and stuff.
Yeah, there was ones that he did before where he's just like, because of this or whatever, like...
And this time I mean it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was...
In
that
lieu
wasn't
of flowers, please
yeah.
beat yourself in the face with rusty chains. Your friend Bender.
And then just pinning it to Zoidberg. Ow.
I think, well, we started off the series with him trying to commit suicide.
Yeah.
But then I think they were just runaway attempts after that. I think this is only his second suicide.
It's just like cry for help type stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But again, this goes back to the thing where like...
Oh, he tries to kill himself in the last movie, but it's a
phone
telephone booth.
Oh, that's
yeah, when he
right.
goes into the past.
That's
But-
true.
But
whole
he's
thing.
a robot. Like, you can't kill a robot.
And he has an off switch.
Yeah. I mean, that's the part of the thing that like kind of is just like getting where he's like, I want a cruel bludgeoning and my eyeballs scooped out. Like,
For an extra $10.
yeah, that seems excessive.
He only had his quarter
It's a
on
quarter, yeah.
a string, though.
What
So-
the heck? I'll treat myself.
Yeah, and how are they charging him for that?
Why does it
Yeah.
give him a
Apple
receipt
Pay.
once he's
I
dead?
know. But it just falls into a pile of a bunch
Yeah.
of receipts.
Please take your receipt.
But that's the whole thing. Then he drops out. The trapdoor opens.
And it's just, I think, to do those jokes and move the plot along. That's
and
all it is.
get him into the League of Robots.
Yep.
So there's Billionaire Bot, there's Hedonism Bot, there's Calculon. Who's the mustache guy? Have we seen him before?
No, I think
Just seems like somebody that would be in the League of Robots.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he's a character
And
or not.
Destructor.
He looked like Teddy Roosevelt.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, and it just seemed like such a throwback. Like basically just sitting around in a library drinking. And I don't know, they weren't doing very much protection of robots, which is what they seem to be.
Well, which is why Bender was so important, because he kind of kicked them into high gear and got it so that they were going to do something.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
you know, that those secret societies, they get stagnant over the years. Same thing with the Stonecutters.
And the Masons.
Yeah. The Stonecutters, all they were doing
The
was
Catholics.
just drinking and playing ping pong, and then Homer shows up and is like, hey, let's do something different.
When Fry gets ejected from the lint trap in the spacesuit, that seems way more complicated of a plan for him to come up with on his own. Don't you think? Like, because he's ready to go. He's got the suit on, and he's like, I know, I'll get into the lint trap, and when they eject the lint trap, I'll be out in there. It seems like something he would have had to have some help with, unless it was one of those flashes of genius that he sometimes has.
I think it's probably one of those situations.
Headache with pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An idea.
Which is the title of a song on that new Iron Chic record. It's fantastic. I'm just gonna give
Headache
them
with pictures?
Yeah,
That's funny.
They have like 4 Futurama references as titles on this new record.
That's
And
pretty great.
they're amazing. They're so good. To shreds, you say? That's another one. But then Zap's gonna launch this missile, which is
Blatherbot. His name is Blatherbot.
is that his name? It's perfect. But the whole thing with the
It's David Herman that does
is
it
it?
too. Yeah.
Oh God, that makes total sense. But the missile launch into the anomaly, which is totally something we do as Americans. Also, we'll probably do that to North Korea in our lifetime, which is troubling and.
Yeah, let's check
awful.
our updates and see if it might have happened.
Yeah, while we're sitting here talking, we might be at war. But Zap's whole thing of it makes a man feel big. It's like, oh God, it's too much. It's real life. It's just fucking terrifying anymore.
So the missile jams, and we hear missile jam, and then Zap says, "I heard you the first time, Francine," and it's
sorry.
I'm sorry.
That was a great.
That's
I
like an
that
airplane joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but so well executed. And then the thing where Kiff is in there and Zap's just like tapping the launch button over. He's like not even waiting. He's just like, come on. And like he's so oblivious and just oh God. But how can Kiff breathe in space? That was the part that got me when
How
he
can
gets
any of
ejected
them
out.
breathe in space? Because that's happened a bunch of times.
Well, they usually have the spacesuits on, though, right? I don't know if there's a point where everybody's been out there without a suit.
In this episode,
You can
later
survive
on,
in space for a little bit.
You would
without
just
anything.
freeze super fast, but yeah, it
This
happens
episode,
quite a bit.
It's the what is it? Sklimu was the name?
Evo.
Evo, yeah. Evo
Oh.
is creating oxygen for them,
Oh.
creating atmosphere.
At what point did your disbelief break, Liz?
Did my disbelief break?
Yeah, you can suspend it, but when it was just like, oh, fuck it. It doesn't matter anymore. It could have been 5 minutes in. I don't know. I'm just curious.
Probably when Bender was in the hospital. I was like, all right, I'll go with whatever.
Why not? I mean, he's got searing ass pain. I'd go to the doctor, too.
And I was like, every time I got confused, I was like, well, something probably happened before.
That'll explain it.
Right.
And not always, but it's just they are joke first or setting something up or just trying to move the plot along, or they
Yeah.
just think it's funny to put a robot in a hospital because it is funny.
So Kiff gets smashed to death. The little meeting between him and Fry was sort of touching. He's like, oh, hey. And then he slaps back on the elastic thing in a total Looney Tunes moment. But like, number one, wouldn't the missile explode in the Nimbus? Number two, where he's smashed into a jelly. Like, that's the point where I thought, like, oh, he'll come back. But then when they're back at Planet Express and Amy's like, all distraught, they have the jar and they're like, well, his species can keep suffering for up to 6 hours after death. It's so perfect for him because he's really just, I just feel so bad for him. But even though he's like that.
He's a very pathetic character.
Yeah, but he's well-meaning for
Right,
sure.
no,
but
he's just-
codependent for sure on Zap
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
When Bender comes in and does what happened is somebody die and then does the nailed it. That was